Coming up on this episode, we're recapping Super Bowl 55 from Tampa Bay and going through all of our prop bets to find out who was the winner. Stick around, it all starts right now. This is Up for Debate, episode number 199, recorded February 11th, 2021. Super Bowl 55, Tompa Bay style. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate, the debate show where the two hosts agree on everything. I am Sean Jennings, joined as always by a man who lives for the weekend, Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Sean. How are you doing in this post-Super Bowl world?
I mean, I never thought I'd live in a world where Tampa Bay was the city of champions. And I was wrong.
I really didn't either. Honestly, I think before this year, I didn't really think much about the city of Tampa Bay at all. And honestly, I still don't. But I think that something in the water there, obviously, with the success recently of the three sports franchises, something going on. The Lightning are champions perennially almost.
They're very good.
The Rays were just in a World Series, and now we got the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Now, Matt, I've got a great thing here. Top10Travelist.com writes 19 fun facts you may not know about Tampa Bay. Would you like to know some?
I would. I really know nothing about the city of Tampa Bay.
Tampa is home to the world's longest continuous sidewalk. The Bayshore Boulevard in downtown Tampa, at 4.5 miles long, earns the title of the world's longest continuous sidewalk. Interesting.
Long sidewalk.
Did you know that Tampa's temperature has never exceeded 99 degrees?
That's kind of unbelievable.
Now, with the heat index, it can feel warmer, but because it's right on the ocean, it never actually has exceeded 99.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But it's definitely like very, very muggy down there, I'm sure.
Yes.
Humidity. It's not the heat, right? It's the humidity.
Exactly. That's where they get you. This one I think is kind of cheating. Bird watching is a popular pastime.
Come on. That's not interesting. You could say that about anywhere. I know lots of places in Jersey that are better bird watching places than Tampa.
Did you know that? No, these are getting worse as the list goes on. Lots of popular movies filmed in the area, Matt. Would you like to know what movies filmed in the Tampa area?
What movies?
Edward Scissorhands.
Okay.
Goodfellas. Magic Mike. With the Channing Tatum. Did you know that Babe Ruth hit his longest home run in Tampa? In April 1919, during a spring training game, the baseball legend hit a record-breaking 587-foot homer.
That's crazy. Wow. That is quite a feat.
And that's it for fun. That's all Tampa has to offer.
Yeah, I would probably not go to Tampa unless somebody paid me to.
But they're also home
for fun.
They're also home to the world champion, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right, Sean. This is not about the Tampa Bay area and its, adequateness, mediocrity. It's about being more than mediocre. Mediocre. It's about being more than mediocre. It's about being the Super Bowl champions, and that's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are.
That's right, man. The game occurred this past Sunday in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against your Kansas City Chiefs. The Bucs take home the win, 31-9, Tom Brady being named Super Bowl MVP. Matt, before we get into our prop bets, what'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the day?
Sean, what can I say other than I thought it was the worst Super Bowl I've ever watched in my entire life? As you know, I had no dog in the fight. I had no real desire to see either team even in the game, let alone one winning over the other. I think we discussed previously this was our nightmare scenario, quote unquote. These were the two very worst teams that of all playoff teams to possibly play each other, and this is the outcome that we got. It's the outcome that we deserve. It's very fitting for 2020, just being all around terrible. The Chiefs, I don't think I've ever seen Chiefs slaughtered like that since Wounded Knee Massacre.
Too soon.
It's going to get us demonetized, and it only took 5 seasons, 6 seasons, however long we've been doing this. But I've had that one in my back pocket all week, so now I finally used it. I'm happy about it. I don't know what else to say. I personally loved the halftime show. I will say that. That's I guess a controversial opinion because not many people did, but I thought it was a fine show.
Matt, I totally disagree with you on a game. It was Rams Patriots was absolutely worse than this game.
Okay, so I thought about this because I see your point. I see why you would say Rams Patriots was a worse game. The difference here is that I guess I refuse to acknowledge the Rams Patriots game because that was the no call year, and it should have been the Saints in the Super Bowl.
I'm rolling my eyes for the folks at home.
Put an asterisk next to that game. Okay, so in years of legitimately recognizable Super Bowls, and I'm not on my own here. I have literally dozens of people that agree with me that you cannot recognize Super Bowl 53. But this one was worse because it had just a worse outcome. Tampa Bay, Sean. Tampa Bay became the first city to host and win a Super Bowl in the same year.
That's kind of awesome.
It's not awesome. There's nothing awesome about that.
I think it's cool. Listen, Matt.
I think it's dirty.
Here's what I'll say about the game. It was not a great game. It was a blowout. Here's what I appreciated, and I actually enjoyed watching the game, and I think it was because, unlike Rams Patriots, there was a lot of scoring. Now, it was on one side, but at least there were a lot of touchdowns to watch, a lot of plays being made, so that was good. The big difference also with Rams Patriots is the reason that was such a low-scoring game is 2 great defenses held the offenses to doing nothing, right? But what I appreciate about this is obviously Tampa Bay's defense, I think the world agrees, really won them that Super Bowl. Tom Brady was good, don't get me wrong, but it really was Tampa Bay's defense that was out of control, great that game. But goddamn, we talked about this last week, not a real Chiefs fan, not a real Pat Mahomes fan, but I got to tell you, I gained so much respect for that guy watching this game because he never quit. He was hobbling around the field. He was throwing passes, running around as late as he could to keep a play alive, just getting hammered all night long. And even when his teammates were gassed and giving up, he never stopped the whole game. It gave me a new respect for him and the Chiefs, and I'd rather see a game where even though it's a blowout, the loser never stops fighting than 2 kind of defeated teams playing each other in a low-scoring game. So no, it wasn't a great game, but it was actually interesting to watch.
I disagree there. I say that Pat Mahomes' performance was incredible. I think somebody after the game, one of the Tampa Bay players said he's a magician, just like a straight-up magician. And that's the way he appeared, was just making incredibly athletic moves, always trying to get back in the game. But the thing was, Sean, he was never in the game. Like after the first quarter, the game was basically decided.
But they still kept going
by halftime.
They still kept going, though. They still made interesting plays.
There was never a situation from the end of the second quarter on where I thought in my head, wow, the Chiefs have a chance. They could actually do this.
I don't disagree. It was
never going to happen. I saw the Bucks were the defense. Tampa Bay's defense was playing out of their mind, like you said. A lot of that was in part due to the myriad injuries that the Chiefs O-line was facing before the game. But I'll give credit where credit is due. The Tampa Bay's defense was out of control. And you're right. Pat Mahomes was trying his best to rally. But like every time he made an incredible pass, his receiver would drop the ball. Or he made an incredible pass and the receiver ran the wrong route. He kind of called them out a little bit and kind of threw them under the bus in his post-game conference. And I know it's not a good look for a quarterback to ever do that because they're supposed to shoulder all of the blame. But I mean, gosh, he was right. I thought he was right. I thought that it really seemed like there was a disconnect between him and his receivers. And to me, Sean, the bottom line is a good game means a game that I can be invested in until the very end. Eagles Patriots was a good game.
No blowout.
Patriots Seahawks was a good game.
Yeah, but those are close.
No good game.
Look, for a blowout, this was a good game. I get it. Blowouts suck. Nobody likes a blowout. I will state for the record, though, so we're clear, it was 21-6 at the half. That is not an insurmountable lead, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't think it was that
I found it to be. The way they were playing seemed like it was insurmountable, unless they had really made some kind of change at halftime.
I mean,
some kind of locker room adjustment.
Overall,
the quality of play in the first half just didn't seem up to snuff.
Both teams had about the same number of yards. Both teams had about the same time of possession. It's just they never scored. I don't know. Again, not a good game. Could have been a better Super Bowl. I didn't leave it at the end saying that was a waste of my time. I did not feel it was a waste of my time. And I'm disappointed people felt that way. Like I said, the biggest thing I took away from this game was a lot of respect for Patrick Mahomes. That's what I took away.
Yeah, and like you said, Pat Mahomes' performance made it worth staying tuned in and just enjoying the show. It's like a movie you've already seen, I guess. It's like I kind of already know I know how this is going to end, but I'll watch it anyway. That's kind of how I felt, I guess, in general about the game. Was it hyperbole for it to be the worst Super Bowl of all time? Maybe. Rams Patriots was definitely less exciting. But if you're a fan of good defense, you can make the argument that was
technically
defensive
it was
battle,
more interesting. But then again, Chiefs had the most exciting offense in the league coming into this game, and the Bucs shut them down. Hey, that's an interesting story, and how they did that. But again, you got to be kind of a hardcore football fan to really get excited about that. I will say, Matt, the halftime show, I enjoyed quite a lot. I rewatched it tonight before the show, and I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was great. I was definitely a fan. We've talked about this on the show before. My feeling on a good Super Bowl halftime show is it has to be a show. Do not put the Rolling Stones on a stage and have them sing a couple songs and leave. Or the Black Eyed Peas, right? Stand on a stage, sing a couple songs. It's boring. I need somebody with some flair. I think J-Lo and Shakira were a good example. Not really relevant artists, but they put on a damn good show and I was entertained. And I felt that way about this show where it had style, it had an angle, it had a few unique elements. I definitely think people are undercounting how COVID affected it because very little of the halftime show was on the field, and when it was on the field, there were no large stage pieces. And my sneaking suspicion is that because of the number of people it takes to move those around and install them, they actually were trying to reduce the number of people involved in the setup and activity of the show itself. That's a guess. I don't know if that's true, but I think given the requirements, I thought it was a damn good show. It was very entertaining. I liked it.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. I would even venture to say I think it was one of my favorite shows of the decade, for sure. One of the more memorable halftime shows. My favorite part, I think, is the part that's getting memed right now, where he was wandering around the Golden Maze, and now people are making it seem like me at Penn Station when my friends run after the train, or like me in the grocery store looking for my mom. It's like I enjoyed that part when he was inside of the set. He did a few things that you never really saw before. Like when he took the camera and held it like throughout a large part of his performance. That was kind of unique. I like seeing things that are different. I like when they try new things. Hell, even when we watched they had the magician show. That was at least something different that a halftime show had never done before, and it was very cool.
This one felt a lot more personal. It felt a lot more up close and singer focused. Usually because they shoot them from so far away, but because of this year, they were able to get right in there with the camera, like you said. When he goes back behind those risers there, you're like, oh shit, like it really was, you weren't suspecting it. And it was very cool, very stylish. I loved when was the last time a singer, and there was no stage on the field, it was just him and a bunch of dancers taking up the entire field. Like it was a really cool scene. It was chaotic. It felt very loose and unscripted, even though it clearly was. It felt very like bump into each other, kind of in the action, sort of. And it really did have a great use of fireworks, I thought, to really accent what he was doing. Now, if you've seen, I also spent this evening watching some other Weeknd performances. All these are very much highlights of all of his performance. Lots of fireworks, lots of crazy camera stuff. Very much his style. I think it made a great halftime show. I really did. And it was captivating, and it was entertaining. The music was good. I don't even think you had to know his music to really enjoy it, because I think it's generic enough. I was really impressed, and I hope the NFL moving forwards doesn't just choose. I think Justin Timberlake is a not good example of like, don't just hire somebody because they're popular. Hire them because they have a unique artistic vision on it. Where Justin Timberlake just goes and sings for a while and he's fine, but you don't remember any moments from that thing, right? I think get people in who are unique. And there was a campaign years ago, I don't know if they're still doing it, to get Weird Al Yankovic to do the halftime show. Like, do that. Like, just do something that's unique and interesting and not a bunch of people on a stage. So I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. Do you have any insight? Why all the hate? I sense an inordinate amount of hate coming from this Super Bowl show, and I don't get it. I don't know why it disappointed so many people.
I'm going to peg it to two things. One, I think moving forward, the halftime show is going to get more and more polarizing. I think you're going to see a lot of people just hate it for the sake of hating it because nobody knows what they want out of it, and so it's really easy to not like. But I think the other piece is that it wasn't a traditional show. And I just think people do want the like people on the stage perform. I think you and I are not sort of the mainstream opinion on this. And The Weeknd, not as recognizable of a name as Justin Timberlake or somebody else who may perform, Lady Gaga. And so I don't really know what it is. I think if The Weeknd had been able to do a show without COVID requirements, I think it would have been even more spectacular. I really do think that is I think if people really took the time to think like what it took to put a show together with masks and social distancing and all these sorts of limitations. I mean, again, he put a bunch of his own money into this thing to get it done. I think he deserves an asterisk for that and a handicap and really credit for a tough situation. So, no, I think it's bullshit that people are complaining. And also, who cares? It's a Super Bowl halftime show. As long as it's not bad, it doesn't have to be great.
I was going to say it. It wasn't the Black Eyed Peas.
There were definitely bad. Like, Maroon 5 was a bad show. We all hated that. But, like, The Weeknd, it was fine. He was fine. What are you whining about? I don't know. I just think it's such a stupid thing to complain about.
I think you pretty much hit it on the head. In order for a Super Bowl halftime show to be worthy of complaining about, I think it would have to be of the boring. It would have to be you'd be complaining about it because it was boring. And I don't think this was boring.
But I also think half of the Super Bowl viewers were like, this year's halftime show, the Eagles, and I think half the audience would go nuts. You just can't please all of America with one singer. It's very tough to do. So, I appreciate them for looking younger and more modern versus some of these past acts that are a little more sort of cross-generational that nobody is really excited about.
Definitely does seem more like the complaints are coming from the boomer.
Well, to be fair, if I knew nothing about The Weeknd and nothing about modern culture, and I watched that, it's like, what's with all the stupid masks on the people's faces? And like,
that seems to be the big complaint. That I'm just like, that why does that bother you to the point? Like, why the hate?
And if anything, appreciate that the guy did something weird and crazy. And also, by the way, again, another unfounded suspicion. I think that's a COVID thing. I know it's his style from his other videos and stuff, but I also think that they can get all of those dancers closer to each other if they're all wearing masks under the mask.
Bingo. Yeah, and that was I saw them wearing the masks underneath the masks, and that was my immediate thought was, oh, this is like I thought it was so smart. I was like, this is a dual. You're accomplishing two things here. You're solving a logistical problem. and skirting around the like the logistics of getting people in a small space, all on top of each other. And you're also making a statement about the pandemic and the times that we're in and things. But then I read about it online, and I guess it's been part of his performances for a while, and it's about the like chasing a false identity in Hollywood, or changing your identity to suit Hollywood's needs,
and it
or
goes
things like
each
that.
Music video, it progresses, and it's like a story, and he always wears the red jacket, which I get. Hey, that's not for everybody. I get it. But also, damn it, it's his halftime show. Who cares if he wants to do it? I will say,
yeah. I think he's very creative.
Well, if you think he's creative, Matt, if you get the chance, go on YouTube, watch some of his other live performances. He did one for the Grammys, one for the American Music Awards. They are incredible because he did one on the new observation deck in New York City. That's on like their new tallest building or whatever. He did one where he's out there and there's a goddamn helicopter flying around him, shooting him as he's singing with a bunch of fireworks in the back. It's incredible, this guy. He's done some really cool stuff. So good for them for picking. I'd much rather them pick someone unique that not everybody loves than a generic Paul McCartney, and then we all fall asleep. So,
right, right.
Matt, one other thing before we get into the bets, I want to talk about. There was one part of the Super Bowl I appreciated more than almost anything else. Look, it's been a long year. It's been a long year, and a lot of things in our lives have been disrupted. And one thing that's really changed over the last year is television commercials. They've gotten sad. They've gotten personal. They've gone from we support our heroes to don't get sick and die to just a general malaise. I felt so good watching stupid, over-the-top, nonsense Super Bowl commercials. It was probably my favorite part of the game when I'm like, what was the Will Ferrell electric car one? I laughed so hard. It's like, when was the last time? Yes, and he had all the other celebrities. And then he gets there, it's like, this is Sweden. And then and I laughed so hard. I'm like, when was the last time I saw like a really, truly like funny commercial?
Yeah, I was so happy because by the time we got to the Super Bowl, all of those deep, meaningful, somber commercials, I had just grown completely numb to all of them. So none of them really resonated with me at all. What I honed in on were the funny and absurd ones, like you said. I love my personal favorite, I think, of the day was the Doritos commercial with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. And Shaggy came out and started rapping with them. I thought that was great. And another big shout out was the Jason Alexander T-shirt.
That was it was so dumb, and it was great. I mean, I even liked the Mountain Dew watermelon one. That was like, it wasn't even good, but it was just like so weird and over the top. And I'm like, this is what I want, have a celebrity there for no reason doing some insane thing to get attention. It was great.
That's what the Super Bowl is all about.
Well, you remember a couple. What was it? Right after Trump was elected, when all the commercials were like, "We love immigrants," and you remember that?
Right. It was very super political. Yeah, Budweiser had a few immigrant spots.
And it's like, I want my dumbass commercial back. So that was great. That was a treat.
Yeah. I was going to reference the My Cousin from Boston, the Sam Adams commercial. That was a great little run at a little dig at Budweiser, who famously said they were not going to use the Clydesdales or even have an ad spot, which I wanted to ask you about because Bud Light had a commercial, Legends. Sean. Is that because Budweiser said they were going to forego an ad spot? I heard in the
I don't know. I don't know what that was about, to be honest with you. It was early in the game. They kind of snuck it in. Yeah, it was interesting though because there really weren't a lot of beer commercials overall, even from the other.
Not
brands.
Really. I guess there was a lot of. I think there obviously a lot of belt tightening from the larger companies due to COVID. So it gave some other smaller opportunities. Smaller companies got opportunities to present their brands, which was kind of cool. The Indeed commercial, I will say, that was one of the serious commercials that I actually did like. I thought that was pretty cool, where it's like we are the the first jobbers, the last jobbers, all that. That was a good commercial. I thought that was well done, but it was hopeful at least.
Speaking of things that aren't hopeful, Matt, we've got to talk about the Super Bowl prop bets. Obviously, as always, we live tweeted the Super Bowl. So if you follow us there, you already know who won. But Matt, let's go through each of these bets, and we'll reveal the winner as we go on. We're going to do them in order in which they occurred, starting with the coin toss. Now, famously, Matt, you have picked tails. Tails never fails every single year, except for this year. This year, you decided to mix it up, choose heads, and wouldn't you know it, of course, heads is the winner. And you got a point for that.
Heads it is. Yes, I felt like something different needed to be done. A change needed to be made, and worked out. Worked out in my favor, I guess.
Do you think you're going to go back to tails next year, or is it a little too early to say for sure?
Definitely too early to call, and I don't want to commit either way just yet. But let's just say I now know that tails sometimes fails.
I think we knew that before, Matt, but okay, that's fine. Next up was the national anthem. As we mentioned before, we had two singers this year. National anthem is usually around the 2 to 210 mark. I said 159. You said 218. And Matt, you were almost spot on. It was my unofficial count was 217. Definitely much closer than I was. You got the point there as well. 2 quick points. I will say, major kudos to you, Matt, because I think you were right. Your sort of, I'm paraphrasing here, but your strategy was that 2 singers means more time. And my strategy was 2 singers means less time, because they're actually going to try and streamline it. And boy, was I wrong. This was a long anthem, and you really nailed it.
Longest one in recent memory.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
Think.
Great choice there. Next up, the primary color of Pat Mahomes' headband. I said red, you said black. And Matt, neither of us got a point. It was white. It was white.
Yeah, you know what? Looking back, I was a really bold, risky bet to say black because black is not a team color of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think he's worn black before, but it is rare.
I feel like I've seen him wear it before, and I thought maybe it was like it might have been like, I thought maybe it was like a statement he could have been making, like, like Black Lives Matter. I know he's very active in the movement, so maybe I thought there was a chance, but no, the headband of choice was, of course,
white.
He wore a white headband.
Yeah, I was getting frustrated on the broadcast because for a lot of the first quarter, all the shots were him with his helmet on, and I was like, "What color's the damn headband?" And finally they showed him without it. So white there. Matt, in a very uninteresting result, we picked the jersey number of the first person to score. Would it be even or would it be odd? We both said odd, which doesn't leave much drama. Turns out we were both correct. It was odd. The first points were by, I believe, Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, who scored with a 49-yard field goal, and I believe his jersey number is 7, but I got to double check. Yes. Butker. Harrison Butker. Mm-hmm. Harry Butker. So we both got a point for that. So, Matt, at this time, we're before the halftime show, and the score is a very distressing 3-1. I don't feel good at this point. I'm very concerned. Especially because in past years, the halftime set list we've always tied on. Every single year we've tied on it. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to get points to make up the difference. Then we get to the halftime. So, Matt, the full set in the accurate order: Starboy, The Hills, Can't Feel My Face, Feel It Coming, Save Your Tears, Earned It, House of Balloons, Blinding Lights. With that, you got all 3 of your picks: Blinding Lights, Save Your Tears, Can't Feel My Face. I only got 1, Starboy. So you actually won this 3-1, putting you up a devastating 6-2 following halftime.
Yeah, that was very unexpected. I'll say that was felt good. it definitely felt good, but it was totally not the direction I thought. As soon as I heard Starboy, the first song, I was like, oh, Sean has a chance to come back here. He's going to build on a comeback. But that was your mistake, really, though, for letting me pick first, because we knew Blinding Lights was going to be on there. There was no way it wasn't.
I just wish I knew anything about the Weeknd's music before he picked, because in retrospect, now that I know what these songs are, I'm like, well, of course he played those. But going into it, I was like, I just looked at the charts to see what was number one, but not what was more recent or anything. So it was a total flop on my part.
Although we didn't get the Chadwick Boseman tribute like we were talking about. We thought he was going to do Pray For Me, which would have been a really
that's
cool...
not his style. Now that I've watched a lot of his performance, I don't think that's his style. So again, it was just, kids, always do your research. That's a lesson you can learn from this show. Do your research. Don't guess wildly.
Absolutely.
Now, Matt, we got two bets coming out of the halftime set list. The first is the number of accepted penalties throughout the game. I said 11, you said 8. And Matt, this was the only one where I really I kicked some ass on this one, because I believe I'd have to pull up the Twitter account to see exactly when it was, but like at the half, it was like way over 8. You didn't have a chance. They ended up with 15 accepted penalties. I took the point on that one. But that's what happens with a defensive game. The majority of those, I believe, that's another one I have to see if I can track down the exact statistic for, but 11 of those were on Kansas City and only 4 on the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean, this was just an extraordinarily, heavily penalized game. With a lot of penalties. In this game.
Way above recent Super Bowls for sure.
Which I usually you're thinking is that the referees tend to call fewer penalties in the Super Bowl because they want to have less impact over the result of the game. It's not like anything like the NFC Championship or anything like that.
And I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but I did say that if the Bucs defense comes to play, there are going to be a lot of penalties because they're going to get a lot of offsides, they're going to get a lot of holding, they're going to get a lot of those little ticky-tacky penalties on Kansas City, which is exactly what ended up happening. So the one good call I have all day, which catches me up a little bit. The next one, winning margin by 5 points or more. I said more. You said fewer, Matt. And I took the point here for it being a blowout. 2 back-to-back points for me, bringing the score to 6-4.
Yep, this was the closest we ever got, right? To this
in this match, yes, indeed, and the closest we will ever get, because that's the last point I will score. Next up, the color of the Gatorade. We've done this one over the years. Only once have we gotten it right. And this year, Matt, once again, we absolutely blew it. I said clear. You said no Gatorade dump. They didn't actually televise the Gatorade dump, which was annoying.
I was paying attention to that, and I was like, did I get that right? Was there actually no Gatorade? But then, of course, we found out later on that the Gatorade color was
Buccaneers blue, which is weird because their colors. I don't know why it's blue. It's very weird. Their colors aren't blue.
I don't think there's any rhyme or reason, Sean. I just think maybe it's just the favorite Gatorade of the team. Maybe that's the kind of Gatorade Tom Brady likes. We've seen the Patriots use blue.
Maybe
before.
I mean it's we talked last week about how historically the sort of more colored Gatorades have rarely been used. It's mostly been clear or orange. And the fact it was blue was I don't think any of us could have really predicted that. I'll tell you, Matt, the first thing I did after they didn't televise it was I went right on Twitter and I searched Gatorade. And would you know it, the first couple results were the photo of them dumping the blue. So no points for either of us there. And then we get down to the winner, the final score, and the MVP, Matt. Now, as we mentioned last time, you've picked the Super Bowl winner every single year we've done this. Your streak remains alive as you picked the Bucs and I picked the Chiefs. You'll pick up a point there. Congratulations. Though neither of us were very close on the score. We both thought it was going to be a 3-point game, and it wasn't, so nobody got points. And, of course, you picked Tom Brady to be MVP. You got a point there. The final score The biggest margin of defeat in the history of our Super Bowl prop bets, 8-4, Matt. You are the Super Bowl 55 Prop Bets Challenge winner.
Thank you, Sean. I'm very kind of very scared that I've been so successful in this. This is making me every year. I wonder, is this the year I should become a compulsive?
It's a lot of pressure to get it right next year.
There really is. The streak must be kept alive. So I'll start practicing. I'll start working out, maybe doing some penny stocks and simple card tricks in the off season, and then I'll work my way up to predicting for next year.
It's an incredible streak. The first time Tom Brady has been an MVP in one of these Super Bowl challenges we've done, though not the first Patriots win, not his first win. Yeah, very exciting. The biggest margin of victory we've had in a Super Bowl on this competition.
I thought there was a reasonable case for Gronk. I know that his name was thrown around a lot to make Gronkowski the
what's
MVP.
so hard. It should have been the defense. But it's so hard because like the year Von Miller won it.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be such a standout on the defense because all the player there. It's not like where you have a quarterback, such a signature player on the defense.
Yeah, you blend in. You definitely, as a defensive player, you're more part of a unit. You're less visible. You're usually.
I think they should have done the wild thing, and given it to Pat Mahomes. I would have been fine with that.
It would have been interesting. I think it would have definitely caused some controversy with Kansas City not being the winning team. I could see a case for it. I don't think the numbers line up. I don't think the numbers match up with your theory. But he visually tried the hardest. So if there was an award for hardest try, best trier on the team, best effort, A for effort, I would have given it to Pat Mahomes.
But how about this, man? I mean, 200. These are Pat Mahomes' stat line for the game. Okay, 270 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not great, but I think
he got more yards than Brady.
But he threw 49 passes, which is a lot. In a game, and his completion percentage wasn't good, but I don't know. I'm sure there's some bullshit statistic you could make up that would make it make sense. I mean, he had a quarterback rating of 50, which is kind of pretty bad.
A lot of it was on his receivers, and they did not make the catches that they should have made, and in the right spots. And penalties were a big factor as well, because I think that got into their heads a lot. So I'm totally with you. Mahomes gave an incredible effort that was very beyond commendable. And if there was an award for hardest trier, player that was tried the hardest but didn't win, obviously Mahomes would be the winner. He'd be the recipient.
There is no try, only do. So it wasn't enough. And and again, when you do think of most valuable player, like, would they be in the Super Bowl? Regardless of how he played in the game, would they be in the Super Bowl without Tom Brady? Probably not. So I guess he is the most valuable.
Yeah, literally the most valuable. Like they went out and bought him and purchased him, and he led them to a Super Bowl.
I think
they don't make it there without Tom Brady.
At this point, how do you make the argument for any other? I mean, he's the greatest player of all time. I mean, I don't know how you can possibly make an argument, even if you hate the guy, even just statistically. I don't know how you can say someone else is better.
No, you can't. You just totally can't. I think that's pretty much indisputable.
I did see a joke. Point. Steve Kerr was joking with Tom Brady that he only needs 2 more to catch up to Steve Kerr, who's won both as a player and as a coach, so who has more championships than Brady. So it's kind of, he's ribbing him a little bit.
Yeah. I'm a big data, like stats kind of guy, and looking at the numbers. And if you look at the numbers I love looking at that list. That always makes me laugh of the previous 2 decades, teams winning the Super Bowl and Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady is now 7 7 Super Bowl wins. Not 7-0. He's 7-2, 7-3, 7-3. Right. He lost to the Giants twice. Lost to the Eagles. Am I missing anybody in there? No. Yeah. So 7-2, and then you have teams like that haven't won at all. Like even the Patriots themselves, the team that Tom Brady was on, has a less impressive record than the man himself. It's
Matt,
unreal.
Here's a fun little trivia challenge I just made up because I like to do that. Can you name every team Tom Brady has beaten in the Super Bowl?
I bet I could. Okay. I could give it a shot. You want me to do the live on the show?
I want you to do it later when nobody's listening.
Right. I'm always down for a live challenge, and my hands in the air. I'm not looking this up. So here we go. We've got.
If it's easier, do them in order.
Starting order. I don't know. It is easier to do them in order. I don't know if I'm going to go that route, but I'm going to try. He beat his first one was against the Rams, right? In 2002. Yep. Okay. He beat the Eagles. McNabb and the Eagles.
But that. You're flipping those two back-to-back Super Bowls. They beat the Eagles in the second of the back-to-backs.
So that was that. No, his first
it was the Rams. Then they missed a year. That was the year the Bucs won, and then the following year was a team, and then after that was the Eagles.
Okay, so beating the Rams was in 2001.
No, it was
right?
It was the 2001 season, but the Super Bowl was in 2002.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So then the Bucs, the Bucs were in it. Skipped the year, beat the Eagles.
It was a team and then the Eagles.
There's another team. Yes. I see what you're saying. There's a team in between. Okay,
it was Carolina. Very good.
Panthers?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yep. So so Rams, Panthers, Eagles.
Skip a couple losses.
Couple losses, and then the next one we got to go to is him in. Was it? This is now the start of the modern Brady era, right? So it was the loss to the Giants.
Yep.
First time.
Yep.
Right. Then it was he came back and he beat.
Now I should double check so I don't fuck this up. I believe both both Giants losses were before the next win.
Oh, okay. In that case, I think you're right. In that case, it would be his next big one was against was it Seattle?
The next one was against Seattle. I'm going to eventually.
All right, so then it's easy after that. Then it's Seattle, then it's Atlanta the next year. Then so the Seattle victory was in 2015.
The Seattle one was in 2014. Yep.
2014. Okay. Atlanta was in 2017. 2016. Okay. I see. We're on a different link because you're doing the season and I'm doing the year that the Super Bowl was. Yeah, because the 2017 Super Bowl, but it was the 2016 season. We're on a different confusing. Like metric and standards system. Yeah. All right. So he beat the Seahawks. He beat the Falcons. He beat the he lost to the Eagles.
That's right.
Beat the Rams.
That's right. Very Chiefs. Good, Matt. There you go. Yeah. Long history of Tom Brady. Very, very. I
didn't miss any in there. I guess,
7 wins, 3 losses,
and unbelievable. He says he's going to be back next year, Sean.
He's going to be a good team. It's going to be a good team. They could win again next year. How crazy would that be?
It is. I don't even. I didn't look at the contracts those players have. Are they going to be like to me, it was just a bunch of really expensive dudes that Tampa Bay shelled out a bunch of money to buy. But I didn't realize, did they ink long-term deals? I thought it was like a year or two.
The offense is a little more veteran-y. A lot of those good defensive guys they drafted. And so from what I've read, they've got 1 or 2 players to lock up, but otherwise they're going to be fine. So they definitely
I can't believe he's going to be back. I thought for sure he was going to say
Nope.
this is it.
This man, it's not going to be like a Peyton Manning thing where he goes out on top. He's going to play until he's done playing. If that means after a Super Bowl, if that means after a no-win season, I don't think he cares. I think he's going to play until he really he doesn't suck. I mean, if I were still good at making, you know that. So when you get to be that age, the contracts they write you tend to be incentive laden, where they don't pay you a lot up front. But if you win conference titles and Super Bowls, he made $500,000 just for winning the Super Bowl. So this guy, he's got incentive to go out and win. So power to him. Look, is he the greatest guy in the world? No. You cannot deny his greatness. He will continue to be great until he's not. But whatever. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't know.
A lot of people hate the game, for sure. I was going to say, the game itself, the NFL I'm talking about, this was the lowest ranked Super Bowl, or lowest viewed Super Bowl in a good long while. I think they said the last season you have to view to have the last Super Bowl you have to view for comparable bad ratings was I think it involved the Detroit Lions. Sean, want to say it was like Lions Steelers Super Bowl or something.
Well, it is interesting to me because
Let me see if I can find the article.
You got to remember, Matt, these are two small market teams, right? It's not like you had any sort of like a Los Angeles team or something like that. These are two small market teams. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I tried to find a list of the most, like a survey or something of the most popular NFL teams in the league. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the 4 least popular teams in the NFL.
No, that's not surprising at all. Definitely not surprising at all. I think they're like we said in the last show. This is kind of like the last. This was like the very last team that if you're asked to name a list of football teams, this is one of the last ones you would name was the Bucs. Here I found the article. It was from The Athletic called "What Super Bowl 55's Ugly TV Numbers Really Mean."
Oh, that's a good clickbait headline.
And they cited that so it was not the Lions. The game was in Detroit, but the last time you have to go to view a Super Bowl with a smaller audience broadcasted live on TV was in 2006. Between the Pittsburgh Steelers, which they won, the Steelers beat the Seattle Seahawks 21-10.
Matt Hasselbeck.
That was Matt Hasselbeck, and it was just a not very great game. And I actually don't really know the reason behind the lower viewership of that Super Bowl, but this was the lowest one since then.
Yeah, it's. Look, there was a chart I read where all sports, the NBA Finals was down like 40%, the Stanley Cup Finals were down 60%. Every single sport is down, so it's not just the Super Bowl. But
it's weird though because what else are people doing? It's like everybody's home now, so I mean there are all sorts of things I'm sure that affect that number, like streaming. They don't take into account people watching on streams at home. It must be I don't know.
They say the number to look at is the household. What percentage of households have it tuned rather than the number of viewers, and that number doesn't look as bad comparatively. I mean, it's still down, but it's not down as much. But yeah, I think I just think it's live events are TV is going to continue to see dropping ratings. I don't think I'll be shocked if you ever see a new record set in Super Bowl ratings ever. I don't care if it's the 2 most popular teams with the most exciting game ever. I don't think you're ever going to break a new record in anything in television ever again. Because that's just not how people watch TV.
It's not the way of the world.
Matt, we're headed towards the end of this episode. I did want to ask you, did you want to make... Yes.
Oh, wait.
No.
Sorry. Real quick. Before I click out of this article, Sean, I've got a quick hits trivia question for you. Sorry to
No, this is
to
great.
cut you off there, but I have to ask you. Do you know, Sean? We talked about that was the 2006 Super Bowl being the lower rating since the current Super Bowl. Can you name the highest rated Super Bowl of the last 10 years? In terms of TV audience.
As you mean as like a raw number of people or as a percentage of households?
I'm going to go with it's a raw number of people. What is the Super Bowl that had the most people
is the number there in front
watching?
Of you? Okay, can I guess what it is?
It is. You can make your guess.
Million?
Close. Not far off.
I think it's
It was 100.
I was going to say it's probably a little less.
million.
Okay, good. I just want to see if I could get that. The highest rated Super Bowl, I'm going to...
Which I guess you're very far off because it's 2 million,
well,
but also you're close.
Will you give me two guesses?
Very close, yeah.
Okay.
My
first guess is the Patriots' undefeated season where they lost to the Giants.
Okay. No, it was not that Super Bowl. That had 111 million.
Okay. So I'm going to say it was the Patriots-Rams right after 9/11 Super Bowl.
No, this is only the last 10 years.
The last 10 years.
So Giants-Patriots would have been the cutoff. That would have been like the first one on the list.
I'm going to say it's Super Bowl 50 with Broncos-Panthers. How'd I do?
I'm actually going to give you... That's wrong. It's not that one. I'm going to give you one more because the game you referenced, Sean, was not in the cutoff. You referenced specifically the undefeated season. That was the first time the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say it was Rams-Patriots because the LA market is so huge.
No, that was very low, actually. That was
how you feel when I quiz you?
Sean,
this is how you feel when I quiz you? This sucks.
This is it. This is how you feel. This is why I did this whole thing.
All right. I want to tell me how stupid am I?
Sean, it was the Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl.
Do you know why? Do you know why I didn't guess that? And this sounds like I'm making an excuse, but I'm not. I really didn't think that was in the last 10 years. I have no concept of time anymore. I knew that game. That game was so huge because Patriots are a huge franchise and the Seahawks are a huge franchise and were very popular at the time. Damn it.
Yes. That was the Seahawks were coming off of their smash mouth 2014 blowout victory.
The Patriots
over the
were back
Broncos.
after a long time of not being in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. They were coming off a rocking season. There was a lot of hype. Damn. And I knew that game was super huge. Oh, man, I feel...
And all they had to do was run it in. They just had to literally go 2 yards, hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Would have been robbed of the greatest ending in Super Bowl history. So, sucks if you're a Seahawks fan.
Yeah. Watching 9/11 truther, Pete Carroll.
Is he really a 9/11 truther? I did not know this.
You didn't know that? He's a big-time 9/11
Pete
truther.
Carroll.
I'm
surprised, but wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Big time. He thinks that it was all like the government and stuff.
He's a weird dude. And that team's a weird team.
Yeah. Big. That was a weird. Yeah. You had a lot of oddballs on there.
Wow. Fascinating. Well, that was a good trivia bit, man.
Thank you. Now we can resume with our regularly scheduled programming.
Well, what I was going to offer as we wrap up here is if you wanted to make any predictions for next year's Super Bowl, who you think could potentially make an appearance in Super Bowl 56?
Gosh, it is so. I read a little bit of the Vegas line, so I know they've already started predicting it. But this is all obviously before the offseason has even really begun, and teams are going to make trades and players are going to get cut, and there's going to be a lot of
this year than ever. Bigger moves this year than ever before. You look at some of these massive Matthew Stafford going to L.A. Carson Wentz is probably on the move. Who knows what's going on with Deshaun Watson? You got the Patriots and Cam Newton, big question mark. There's a Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers is a big question mark. There's going to be a huge change between now and the start of the season.
Ton of teams are clamoring for quarterbacks, and it's always fun watching quarterbacks get shuffled around. So off the top of my head, just based on how the teams look right now on February 11th, 2021, I'm going to say the Super Bowl will probably be exactly the same. No, it's not going to be the same. That would be pretty funny. I think there's a pretty good chance of the Bucs making it again. I think that'd probably be my pick for NFC would be either the Bucs or the Packers. And I think I'd have to give the edge to the Bucs because there's, Aaron Rodgers is not getting any younger. I mean, and he doesn't seem to have the same ageless magic as Tom Brady does. So I'll probably give the edge there to the Bucs. So my NFC pick is Tampa Bay, and my AFC team is the Buffalo Bills. Sean, let's see a Bills Bucs Super Bowl. It would either be the Bills or the Browns. I think I'm gonna say the Bills. I think they really came very close to clinching the whole thing, and I don't see them losing any momentum, and I don't see them losing any big players. So I think Bills Bucs is my prediction for next year.
That's a bold choice.
Mm-hmm. And I will have a dog in that fight, and I will be going.
I think
hard
all of America will be going hard for Buffalo. I have to imagine.
Yes. I don't know if I could light a table on fire and jump into it, but I will be rooting for Buffalo, and I might even buy some merch.
They need our support.
Might even buy some gear.
My pick, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go a little wild here for the NFC. I like LA with Matt Stafford. I think that is because they're not a bad team. Jared Goff is just inconsistent. The coaching is strong and the players are good. And I think Matt Stafford's been underrated because of how bad Detroit's been. I think I'm going to pick the Rams from the NFC, and for the AFC, I'm taking the Chiefs again. They've got all their players locked down. Nobody's going anywhere. They only lost the Super Bowl to the number one defense in the league. There's no reason to think they can't do it again. So I'm going to go Rams-Chiefs.
All right. So we both retained our current picks for to make a repeat appearance. Now, what do you think will win?
Chiefs Super Bowl? I think the Chiefs. I mean, they're really the best team in the league. And unless something crazy happens in the offseason, there's no reason to think they won't continue to be the best team. I mean, you think about it, this is a team that over the last couple of years was in the AFC Championship game, then in the Super Bowl and won it, then in the Super Bowl and lost it. So who else in the AFC are you really? I mean, the Bills are good, but Mahomes is better than Josh Allen. I'm sorry, he just is. He's got better receivers, and it's only the Chiefs' defense that's a little questionable. So I would love the Bills. I think that'd be fun, but I just don't know if they can. I'm going to tell you, I think my goat in the bad way. My goat team. I do not understand the Baltimore Ravens. I do not understand that team. I'm like, I don't know if they're supposed to be good or they're supposed to be bad. So bizarre.
Yeah, they're really. I think they've just been overrated.
I think Harbaugh's got to go.
As simple as
I think it's a coaching problem. He's been there too long.
Yeah. I think so. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I think Lamar Jackson's incredibly talented.
And I think they have good players. That's what's crazy. It's like on paper they should win more games.
He's a quality quarterback, but I think they've been outmatched. Every big matchup they've been in, they've kind of.
I'm telling you, one more year, and it's going to be like Deshaun Watson, where Lamar Jackson's going to beg for a trade out of there. I'm telling you, he's too good for that team.
Yeah, it's on the horizon. I think there's a lot of turmoil in that organization.
Well, I mean, like I said, give the Chiefs credit. They got Patrick Mahomes, who's an awesome quarterback. They also built a really good team around him. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I mean, they really surrounded him with great weapons. Like, Josh Allen is great, but until they got Stephon Diggs, they weren't a good team. So, anyway.
Something I'll say for the Bills is I think they've got one of the
Right.
paths of least resistance. I think that they can handily win that division. I think they can they'll earn themselves a bye, which helps a lot as we've always seen. I think that they can progress through the postseason much more handily than other teams can. I think you could probably make the same case for the Chiefs too, and for the Rams.
It's going to be a fun year in the NFL next year. I really do feel that way. I feel like between the draft, I think in a world of a million storylines, just think Joe Burrow was out with Cincinnati was half the year with a blown ACL. Who knows? They could come and be a great team next year. I mean, it's just there's just so many things going on. It's Carson Wentz, and what are the Eagles doing with Jalen Hurts? It's like Dak Prescott coming back after being gone for an entire season with injury on the franchise tag.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be Justin Herbert, Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's going to be fun.
Anything can happen. And what we will know, though, for sure, is that the Jets will
They're
still be
going to draft a quarterback high, and they're going to suck.
It is like death and taxes. It is a certainty. The Jets will be bad.
And then that and the Arizona Cardinals will fool us into thinking they're going to be good. I feel like I fall for that every year where they've got Kyler Murray, they've got Larry Fitzgerald. They look good in the first couple games, and you're like, why did I think they were going to be good?
And they're like, made you watch. Where bad. I quite enjoyed the collapse of the Las Vegas
they're going to be
Raiders
weird
this year. It was a pretty monumental collapse. Very weird, yes. And then of course the tanking narrative of the Jacksonville Jaguars, how they got in that tanking battle with the Jets and narrowly lost it and then won it. That was a lot of really interesting storylines in the NFL.
The good news is we're going to talk about none of that on the show because we're not an NFL show. We're done. No more NFL till next Super Bowl. We're done. But Matt, we can tease. We're only a couple weeks away from March Madness. Are you as excited as I am?
That's right. We are back to pro. I'm excited. I've already started making plans. No spoilers so far, but it's like clockwork. Super Bowl show happens. March Madness is right around the corner.
Now in March Madness, I don't know because Matt and I haven't talked about it, but we're going to have some great shows, so you're going to want to come back. For sure. UpForDebate.tv is our website. Check us out there. Of course, you can subscribe wherever you get podcasts, and the video version is on YouTube. And of course, you can follow us at UpForDebateTV on Twitter, and UpForDebateTV@gmail.com is the email address. You can hook up with us there. We're going to end it here. Super Bowl 55 is in the books. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time for another great episode of Up for Debate.
Up for hot